What's going on, guys? My name is Ted, bringing you all a review today of the Apple iPhone 5 versus the Android HTC One X. These are both top-of-the-line devices for their respective companies, and I want to give you guys some of the hardcore facts that make these phones separate and apart, but I also want to tell you guys before I get started that a lot of this is personal opinion. So if you really like iPhone or you really like Android, stick with your respective devices because it's something that you're familiar with and you enjoy. But if you're just absolutely have no idea which one to get, but you really want a top-of-the-line great phone, both these phones are good options, but let's break them down into which one's going to be better for you. So starting off with operating system, the iPhone 5 comes with iOS 6. This is the brand new operating system for iPhone. Comes with a lot of software as well as visual and user interface improvements. Overall, your phone's going to run a lot smoother now with iOS 6 as opposed to iOS 5. And just in general, it's a top-of-the-line operating system, and it's the brand new one for Apple. Moving on to the HTC One X, it's coming with Android 4.0.4. This is the second to newest version of Android Jelly Bean being the current version, Android 4.1. And although it's one version old, Android updates a lot more often, about twice a year, whereas Apple only updates about once a year. So you can see the difference there. Android updates a lot more often and we have a lot more phones, so in general, it's more common for a phone to be stuck in operating system old, whereas with iOS, whenever they update a new operating system, they send all their devices with that new operating system. So that's why the update process is a little bit slow, and that's why the HTC One X, which got released back in April, is still not on the current operating system. Moving on to your screen size, this is a huge deal for a lot of people. The iPhone 5 comes with the 1136 by 640 Retina display on a 4-inch screen. This is a 326 pixel per inch display, which is absolutely phenomenal, and it's a very, very crisp, great display. Moving on to the HTC One X, it comes with a slightly larger 4.7-inch display, which is 1280 by 720 full HD display at 312 pixels per inch. Although the HTC One X is a bigger display, it's got a slightly smaller pixel per inch. Not too noticeable at 14 pixels per inch less than the iPhone 5. However, it is a small difference, and if you like super fine, crisp photos and your screen size, the iPhone 5 has got a little bit more pixels per inch. It means your photos and your videos, any content you view on your phone is going to be just a little bit crisper. However, the HTC One X makes up for this by having a much bigger screen at 4.7 inches versus the iPhone 5's 4 inches. Moving on to your random access memory, this is very important. This is how well you can multitask, how well you can switch between apps that you've had open in the background of your phone. Both devices have 1 GB of random access memory, which is very good for multitasking, but it's not quite as good as phones like the Galaxy S3, the Optimus G, or the Note 2 coming out later on this month, which have 2 GB of RAM. And it's kind of become a new standard for a phone to have more than 1 GB of RAM. It kind of sucks to see the iPhone 5 get released with only 1 GB of RAM when some of the Android devices are going to be coming out with almost double that amount of RAM in the near future. Moving on to storage, both the devices do not have micro SD cards. A micro SD card is a little SD card that you can get for really cheap that vastly increases your storage. Instead, these phones decide to charge you for extra internal storage. The iPhone 5 is going to charge you $100 to boost from 16 gigs to 32 gigs of internal storage, and then another $100 to boost from 32 gigabytes to 64 gigabytes of internal storage. Whereas the HTC One X comes with 16 gigabytes stock and no upgrade option, and 32 gigabytes, the international version is going to have 32 gigabytes of memory. Moving on to your top data speeds, both the phones have 4G LTE. However, the HTC One X has been out since April, and the iPhone 5 just got released. The iPhone 4S did not have 4G LTE, even though all the Android devices at the time did. It's kind of a generation behind, just now getting 4G LTE. But regardless, they are both now at the top of the line with 4G LTE, so there's no comparison to be made there. They're both the top of the line speeds. The rear-facing camera and the front-facing camera are almost exactly the same. The iPhone 5 has got a 1.2 megapixel front-facing camera versus the HTC One X is a 1.3 megapixel front-facing camera, and they both have 8 megapixel rear-facing cameras. Small difference in the front-facing camera, but they both record in 720p HD, and it's a very negatable difference between the two. Moving on to your Wi-Fi and Bluetooth, once again, both the same stats. I'm not going to go over it. But the big thing about the two phones is the battery life. So the iPhone 5 has a very, very big pixel per inch ratio, and your screen is what uses up the majority of your battery. And having that many pixels to light up is going to make their battery die really, really quick. And they only have a 1440 milliamp hour battery. This is horribly small. I have no idea why they did not expand this any more than they did. They beefed it up 10 milliamp hours. So they beefed it up from 1430 to 1440. This is absolutely no difference, but it's just enough for them to legally say that they increased battery life, which is what a lot of people are hearing now, but they tried to keep the fact hidden that although they increased it, they only increased it by 10 milliamp hours. Honestly, only about a minute of extra battery life. It's absolutely nothing, and I don't understand that. Also factor this in with the fact that they now have a much bigger display at half an inch bigger and more pixels in the display. Their battery is going to die faster than it did before, and it already didn't have very good battery life. Moving on to the HTC One X, you're coming with an 1800 milliamp hour battery. This is also not fantastic, but it is a heck of a lot better than the iPhones by about 400 milliamp hours more. This is probably about an hour and a half or 2 hours extra of battery life for standby and on use, off and on. But neither of these phones have very good battery life, so I'm not going to give either of the devices a very good rating on this. The problem is, as well, is neither of the devices you can take out the battery and plug in a new one. For example, I have the Galaxy S3. When I want to, I can remove my battery, as I got right here. This is an extra spare battery. Whenever my battery dies, I just take out the other one, take out the battery, put in a new one, full battery again. It's really, really nice. They're really, really cheap, and they're handy, and neither of these phones give you that option. Really don't understand that. I wish they would let you have a removable battery, but neither of the devices do, and that really, really is a downfall for both the devices. As far as the size goes, you're going to notice the HTC One X is a little bit thinner, but the iPhone's a lot smaller as far as dimensions, because the iPhone is obviously only a 4-inch screen versus the HTC One X's 4.7-inch screen. So if you wear skinny jeans, or if you just don't like to have a big phone, the iPhone's your choice. If you like to have a big screen that you can read and a little bit more weight to your phone, that's definitely the HTC One X is your choice. Moving on to NFC enableability. So NFC is near-field communications. This is like when you tap your two phones together, you can beam information or YouTube videos or regular videos or photos. You can beam them phone to phone just by tapping the back of the phone and clicking on the screen, and it shares information and pictures and anything instantly without any having to connect. It's very, very easy. The iPhone does not have this. I don't know why they didn't enable it. It's very, very easy to put this in the battery of your phone and to enable it just to give it one more feature. It does not have it. Android does, and in fact almost all the devices released this day have it. It makes it very, very easy to share your photos, and I can't count how many times I've used it here in college. With all my buddies having Android devices, I can just beam our phones together and share our videos and our pictures that we take at any random time. It's really, really easy, and I don't know why iPhone didn't incorporate that into their cell phone. Moving on to the final thing, and probably the most important for most of you guys, is the cost. The iPhone 5 is coming at $199 with a 2-year contract. You can increase this to $299 if you want 32 gigabytes of memory, and increase this a further $100 up to $399 if you want 64 gigabytes of memory. The HTC One X is just a stock $99. There's no increase in memory for this phone, so you don't get as many options, but the price starts at $100 less than that of the iPhone 5's cost for the same amount of memory. So the HTC One X is a little bit cheaper, but the iPhone 5 has a much nicer design. It's not a stat, but I wanted to give that a little bit of a buff as well. The iPhone 5 is a great design. It looks beautiful. It's made out of some great materials. The HTC One X is also a very, very nice design. There's nothing wrong with it at all. I've had the phone. I had its little brother, the HTC One S. Since release date, I actually owned that phone for about 2 months before I got my Galaxy S3. But the phone felt great. It's got a great design to it. It's made out of a metal. It's not made out of a plastic. And it's a very, very sturdy design. It feels like it's going to snap in half like some of the phones that are made by Android these days. HTC has very, very nice phones. Not as nice as the iPhone though. So if you want aesthetics and if you want usability and just very easy to manage phone that you don't really have to do very much with or to understand, the iPhone 5 is for you. If you want a fully customizable phone with a lot of options, a lot harder to understand at first, but a much better phone when you get to realize, a much more powerful phone when you get to realize the true potential of the device, that's going to be the HTC One X. Hope you guys enjoyed this review. If you have any questions about either of the devices, I know a lot about these phones. I might have missed something out. Leave it down in the description below or the comment section down below, and I'll make sure to read them. Otherwise, have a great day, and I'll see you all later. Bye.